multi-product CVP analysis. Multi-product CVP analysis. You are welcome to my presentation on multi-products CVP analysis. CVP means cost volume profit analysis, that is break-even analysis. This is the part 2 of my presentation on this topic. In part 1, I've examined the break-even point for the company that is making and selling a single product. In this part 2, I want to examine the break-even point for companies that are making and selling 2 or more products. That is for multi-product companies. I've told you that a business is said to break even where its revenue equals its cost. That is, at the break-even level, there will be no profit, there will be no loss. The revenue and cost will be equal. That is break-even. The various formula for calculating the break-even point have been given in part 1. So this is an extension of my lecture on break-even analysis. So I want to consider the steps for computing the break-even analysis for multi-product company. So I want to know that the multi-product company or multi-products examiner requirements. You may be given or you may be asked to compute the break-even point where sales mix will be given, where sales mix are given, or where weights are given. We either call it sales mix or we call it weight. Where weights are given, just like you may be told 60% for maybe there are 2 products A and B, 60% for A and 40% for B. You may be given ratio in percentage and you may be given in decimal, 0.3 and 0.7. So you may be given in form of fraction. You may be given 3/10 and 7/10. You may be given in form of whole number, 5 and 5 or 5 and 6. So depending on the question. So where sales mix are given, that is one way through which question may be asked. Another way which question may be asked is where sales mix are not given. I want to note that my focus here is where the overall total fees costs are given for all the products. Where you are given the fees cost for the entire product, not for the individual product. Maybe you have product A and product B. If you have total fees cost, if this one is 600,000 and for product B is 500,000, and where the fees cost for the individual product are given, you are still going to solve the question the same way we have considered for single products. But where you are given total fees cost for all the products, maybe it's 1 million, and you don't know the amount incurred by product A, and you don't know the amount incurred by the product B. The two products incur the fixed cost of 1 million. It is then that you are going to use the approach which I'm going to consider in this video. What are the steps you need to take in solving questions involving breakable point for multi-product company? Steps. Step 1. You determine the contribution margin for each of the products. Determine the contribution margin for each of the products. Remember, contribution margin, CM, contribution margin is equal to selling price minus unit variable cost. So that is the first step. You determine the contribution margin for each of the product. Step 2, you determine the weighted contribution margin ratio. Determine the weighted contribution margin ratio, that is weighted CMR. How do we compute this? Weighted CMR equals to weighted contribution margin over weighted selling price. Weighted CMR equal to weighted contribution margin over weighted selling price. Meaning that to compute a weighted CMR, you need two variables. Number one variable is weighted contribution margin. Weighted contribution margin. To determine your weighted contribution margin, you multiply your sales mix or your weight by your CM. Your sales mix or your weight, you multiply by the contribution margin. 2. Weighted selling price. Weighted selling price. To obtain this, also multiply your sales mix. Sales mix or your weight. You either call it sales mix or you call it weight by the selling price. This will give you the weighted selling price. You now divide your weighted CMR contribution margin by the weighted selling price. That will give you the weighted CMR. That is step 2. Step 3. Determine the overall breakable point in sales value. That is, you determine the breakable point for all the products. Breakable point in sales value equals to total fixed cost over weighted CMR. That is the step 3. Step 4 now. Determine the breakable point in sales value for each of the products. For each of the products. by dividing, by apportioning the overall break-even point in sales value computed in step 3 above on the basis of the sales mix, or weighted sales, or weighted sales as determined in 2B above. Weighted selling price. Selling price as determined in 2B above. That is step 4. That is, you determine the break-even point in sales value for each of the products by apportioning the overall BP in sales value computed in step 3 above on the basis of the sales mix or weighted selling price as determined in step 2B above. Finally, step 5, you calculate the break-even point in units. Calculate the BEP in unit. To calculate your break-even point in units for each of the products, you divide the BEP in sales value as obtained in step 4 by the unit selling price. So you divide the BP in sales value by the unit selling price. That will give you the break-even point in unit. These are the steps to follow in computing your break-even point break-even point for multi-product companies or for multi-products company. So now we want to take a work example. Example: P Limited produces and sells 2 products, P and E. Budgets prepared for the next 6 months give the following information. You have the product P, the amount is in per unit. Product E per unit. The selling price of product P is 10 Naira and that of E is 12 Naira. Variable cost, production and selling is 5 Naira for product P and that of product E is 10 Naira. Common fixed cost, production and selling for 6 months is given to be 561,600 Naira. You are required in respect of the forthcoming 6 months, 1, to state what the break-even point in Naira value will be and the number of each product this figure represents. If the 2 products are sold in the ratio 4 for P to 3 for E, ratio 4 to 3 for P and E respectively. 2, to state the break-even point in Naira value and the number of products this figure represents. If the sales mix changes to 4P to 4, ratio of 4 to 4 for product P and E respectively. 3, to advise the sales manager which product mix should be better in 1 and 2 above, and why? Number 4, to advise the sales manager which of the 2 products should be concentrated on and the reason for your recommendation. Assume that whatever can be made can be sold, that both products go through a machining process, and that there are only 32,000 machine hours available, with product P requiring 0.40 hour per unit and product E requiring 0.10 hour per unit. That is the question. This question is obtained from Workout Performance Management by Ade Omolehinwa. Solution. So I've told you that the first step is to determine the contribution per unit. Determination of contribution margin for each of the products. 2 products are involved. We have product P and product E. Then you are given, contribution is selling price. The selling price of product E is 10 Naira. Why that of product P is 10 Naira, why that of product E is 12 Naira. So we have 10 for P and 12 for E. From the selling price we less unit variable cost. The variable cost of product P is 5 Naira, while that of product E is 10 Naira. We have 5 Naira and 10 Naira for product P and E respectively. By the time you subtract the variable cost from the selling price, you arrive at the unit contribution or contribution margin. 10 minus 5, that will be 5 Naira for product P, and 12 minus 10, that will be 2 Naira for product E. Now, after this, let's go back to the requirement. You are given the total fixed cost to be 561,600. You are required to, in respect of the forthcoming 6 months, to state what the break-even point in Naira value will be and the number of each product this figure represents. If the 2 products are sold in the ratio of 4 to 3 for P and E respectively. I've told you that to determine the break-even point for a multi-product company, the next thing after the determination of contribution is to determine the weighted contribution margin ratio. Weighted contribution margin ratio. I've told you that weighted contribution margin ratio is weighted contribution margin over weighted selling price. Weighted contribution margin over weighted selling price. Remember, you have determined the contribution for both products P and E respectively. Your contribution margin as determined above. For product P, we have product P, that is 5 Naira, while that of product E is 2 Naira. We have 5 and 2 respectively. Then what are the weights? That is the sales mix. For product P, you have 4, and that of E, you have 3. So the weight 4 for P, and 3 for E. Weighted, no, I've told you that your weight is the same as your sales mix. Weighted contribution margin, CM is contribution margin, weighted contribution margin. So you have 5 times 4, that will be 20. 2 times 3, that will be 6. Total is 20 plus 6, that gives us 26 naira. That means you've got the numerator, weighted contribution margin. Then you are left with the weighted selling price. Weighted selling price. That is, you also multiply your selling price by the weight, that is, by the sales mix. For P, the sales mix for product P is 4. The selling price for product P, the selling price for product P is 10 naira. Therefore, if you have selling price of 10 naira multiplied by the weight of 4, 10 times 4, that gives us 40 naira. Then why out of product E, the selling price is 12 naira. Why the weight, that is your sales mix, is 3. So 12 times 3, that gives us 36. We now sum it up. 40 plus 36, that gives us 76. That is the weighted selling price. Remember, I've told you that the weighted CMR, that is the weighted contribution margin ratio, weighted CMR, I said it is weighted contribution margin over weighted selling price. The weighted contribution margin is 26 naira, while the weighted selling price is 76 naira. So the weighted CMR will be 26 over 76. Therefore, weighted CMR equals to 26 over 76. Therefore, the next step is the determination of the break-even point in Naira. BEP in Naira. I've told you that the BEP in Naira is total feed cost, over weighted CMR, weighted contribution margin ratio. And you have been given the total fees cost to be 561,600. So 561,600 over weighted CMR. And our weighted CMR is 26 over 76. We have 26 over 76. This line is a dividing line. So that means you want to divide. To divide this, you have 561,600. When this line change to divide, we have divided by 26 over 76. Division will change to multiplication. We have 561,600 times 76 over 26. When division changes to multiplication, that means you are going to find the reciprocal of the fraction. And the reciprocal of 26 over 76 becomes, reciprocal of 26 over 76 is 76 over 26. Now, 561,600 times 76 divided by 26. That gives us, therefore, the overall BP in Naira is 1,641,600. Remember the requirement of the question. You are to state what the break-even point in Naira value will be and the number of each product this figure represents if the two products are sold in ratio of 4 to 3. Having determined the overall break-even point in Naira, and we've got 1,641,600. The next thing is to apportion the overall BP in Naira by the weighted selling price in order to get the break-even point in Naira for each of the product, that is for the individual product. Now remember, two products are involved. We have products P and product E. Then the weighted selling price, and our weighted selling price for product P is 40, while that of product E is 36, and the total weighted selling price is 76. Weighted selling price for P 40 and 36 for E, total 76. You apportion the overall BP Naira using the weighted selling price. For BP Naira now, for product P, we have 40 over 76 times 1,641,600. That gives us 1,641,600 times 40 divided by 76. That gives us 864,000. 864,000 Naira. While that of product E will be 36 over 76 times 1,641,600. That gives us 36 times 1,641,600 divided by 76. Then we have 777,600. Having determined the BP in Naira for each of the product, that is for the individual product, the next thing is to compute the BP in unit. I've told you that to compute the BP in unit, BEP in unit, I've told you that is equal to BP in Naira divided by the selling price. Remember, two products were involved. Product P now. P. The BP in Naira for product P is 864,000. Product P 864,000. 864,000 divided by the selling price of product P. The selling price of product P is 10 Naira divided by 10 Naira. That gives us 86,400 units. While that of product E, we have the BP in Naira for product E is 777,600, 777,600. 777,600 divided by the selling price. The selling price of product E is 12 Naira divided by 12. That gives us, divided by 12, we have 64,800 units. That is the BP in units. That is the answer to Roman figure 1. Then Roman figure 2. To state the break-even point in Naira value, and the number of products this figure represents, if the sales mix changes to 4 to 4, ratio of 4 to 4 for product P and E respectively. So we have determined our unit contribution earlier. The next thing is the determination of weighted contribution margin. Remember for Roman figure 2 now, the weight for Roman figure 2 is ratio of 4 to 4. That is the sales mix. Now, your weighted CM now, weighted CM will be 5 times 4, that gives us 20. 2 times 4, that gives us 8. 20 plus 8, that gives us 28 naira. The weighted contribution margin is 28 naira. Then the next thing is weighted selling price. Weighted selling price. That will be the selling price. The selling price of product P is 10 multiplied by the weight, which is 4. 10 times 4, that gives us 40. That of product E, selling price is 12. 12 times weight is 4. 12 times 4, that gives us 48. 40 plus 48, that gives us 40 plus 48, we have 48. We have 88. Therefore, weighted CMR, weighted contribution margin ratio, I say it's weighted contribution, which is 28 over weighted selling price, which is 88. Having obtained the weighted CMR, the next thing is to compute the break-even point in Naira. Overall break-even point in Naira. I'll tell you that BP in Naira, we said, is equal to total fixed cost over weighted CMR. Total fixed cost is still the same, 561,600 over weighted CMR, which is 28 over 88 as obtained here. Weighted CMR 28 over 88. Now, this is a fraction. If you solve it the same way I've solved the first one, BP Naira, it will be 561,600 times 88 divided by 28. You know, I find the reciprocal of the denominator. So 561,600 times 88 divided by 28. That gives us 1,765,028.6. That is the overall CMR. I'll tell you that after this, the next thing is to compute the CMR for each of the products. I'll tell you that to compute the break-even point in Naira for each of the products, you apportion it based on the weighted sales. So we have two products, P and E. Our weighted selling price for product P as computed is 40, while that of product E is 48. 40 and 48, total is 88. We now apportion the BP Naira based on the weighted selling price. So BP in Naira for product P, we have 40 over 88 times 1,765,028.60. Therefore, the BP in Naira, we have 40 times 1,765,028.60. So divided by 88, the BP in Naira for product P is 802,285.70. Then white out of product E is 48 out of 88 times 1,765,028.60. That gives us 962,742.90. So, having determined the BP in Naira for each of the products, then we can now calculate the BP in units by dividing the BP in Naira by the selling price. So, BP in units. For product P now, we have the BP in Naira for product P, which is 802,285.70, and that of product E is 962,742.90 as calculated. So that is the BP in Naira. You now divide it by the selling price. The selling price of product P is 10, while that of E is 12. Selling price P 10, selling price P 10, E 12. So what is now the BP in units? So now let's divide. Divided by 12. This will be 80,229 units. While that of product P, 802,285.70 divided by 10. The BP in units is 80,229 units. That is the breakable point in units for both product P and product E respectively. That is the answer to Roman figure 2. Roman figure 3. You are to advise the sales manager which product mix should be better in 1 and 2 above. Which product mix is better in 1 and 2 above. So to answer this, you determine which of the product mix offer the higher CIMA. To determine the product mix that offer the higher CMR. In 1, the CMR in 1, weighted CMR as computed in 1, weighted CMR in 1, we got 26/76. The weighted CMR in 2, weighted CMR in 2, we got 28/88. In 2, weighted CMR, which is 28/88. You can quantify this into percentage. Now, by multiply by 100. So, 26 times 100 divided by 76. That gives us 34.2%. While we have 28 divided by 88 times 100. That gives us 28 divided by 88 times 100. We have 31.8%. The mix in 1 offer the higher CMR. The mix the miss in 1 offer the higher CMR. This one offer the higher CMR. Therefore, it is the most profitable one. The miss in 1 is the most profitable. That is the answer to Roman figure 3. Now, Roman figure 4. You are to advise the sales manager which of the 2 products should be concentrated on and the reason for your recommendation. Assume that whatever can be made can be sold. That both products go through a machining process and that there are only 32,000 machine hours available, with product P requiring 0.40 hours per unit and product E requiring 0.10 hour per unit. That is Roman figure 4. This question is testing your understanding of single limiting factor. But in this case, you are not given the maximum number of units of each product that could be bought or sold. So in that case, you cannot determine you cannot identify the adequacy. You can't confirm the adequacy of the 32,000 machine hours. So the only thing you do, we have determined our contribution margin earlier, so you don't need to repeat that again. Just confirm the maximum unit of either product that can be produced given the available machine hour. Now, given Roman figure 4, given the available machine hours, determine the maximum number of units of each product that can be produced. You know, the available machining hour is 32,000 machine hours. How many units of product P that can be produced with 32,000 machine hours? If it's 0.40 hour is required to achieve a unit. So for product P now, we have 32,000 divided by 0.40. So that gives us 32,000 divided by 0.4. That gives us 80,000 units. 80,000 units. For product E again, note the available machining hour is 32,000 hours. And how many hours is required to achieve a unit of product E? And product E requiring 0.10 hour per unit divided by 0.10. 320,000 units. 320,000 units. Now, determine the profit. Let's prepare the income statement for each of the products. Profit statement. Profit statement. 2 products are involved, product E and product P. You have been given the selling price. Sorry, you have been given the contribution margin. Contribution margin has been calculated. Contribution margin, that is contribution per unit. For product P, we have the contribution margin For product P, we have 5 Naira. That of E, we have 2 Naira. 5 Naira, 2 Naira. Now, number of units of P that can be produced with the available machining hour is 80,000 units, and that of E is 320,000 units. Number of units sold or produced 80,000 units and 320,000 units. So what is the total contribution now? Total contribution for product P, we have 5 times 80,000, that gives us 400,000. And for product E, 2 times 320,000, that gives us 640,000. Remember the fixed cost as given earlier. Fixed cost is given to be 561,600 as given earlier. So if you subtract, you have the profit or loss in bracket. 400,000 minus 561,600, then you have 161,600. This is a loss because the fixed cost exceeds the profit, exceeds the contribution. For product E, the fixed cost is 561,600. If you produce product E, if you subtract, you have 640,000 minus 561,600. That fetches us the contribution of profit of 78,400. 78,400. Therefore, product E is more profitable. So the entity should focus on production of product E only. So that is the end of the solution to this work example. This is the end of part 2. In part 3, I will examine the calculation of break-even for multi-product company where the sales mix, that is the weight, where is not given. Where the sales mix is not given, that will be examined in part 3. Please, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.